Let me welcome everybody to the Future Trends Forum. My name is Brian Alexander, the man with a lot of hair. I am your host, organizer, and chief cat herder for the day. Welcome to the Future Trends Forum. You're in the Shindig Environment, which I'll explain in just a second. Next slide, please. Just want to let you know that this is a project coming out of the Future Trends in Technology and Education report. And if you don't know that, that's a monthly report that I publish, which looks at, as you might guess, trends in education and technology. It's been going on for several years now, so it has some good longitudinal data behind it. The next report should be out tomorrow afternoon. If you'd like to learn more, just go to ftte.us or ask me about it. Next slide, please. Now, I just want to thank two organizations who help support us, who are very, very kind. One is NiserNet from New York State. They've been sponsoring FTTE, and we really appreciate their help. And the other great supporter is Shindig. They've done two great things for us. One is to provide for us this technology that we're inhabiting right now, but also to help make available wonderful people like Zach and Christopher, who have been doing just great work at keeping us going. Speaking of which, let me just introduce you to the space if you haven't been here before. This is the Shindig Environment, and there are really two different levels of it. What you're seeing in the top half with my face and the Shindig PowerPoint presentation, that's called the stage. And everything up on the stage is public. Everyone can hear us and see us. On the bottom half, where most of you guys are, is the audience, obviously. This is where all participants get to live. And you can see, if you look around you, a whole bunch of different icons. Some have pictures, some have video feeds, and they all are representations of individuals from literally around the world. Now, as we go on, you'll see that the participants section will change as people move around, add, move back and forth. Now, what you see is actually just part of the audience, because as more and more people climb into each session, Shindig breaks those out into individual rooms by groups of 15. So if you look on the very, very bottom, the very, very bottom left of your screen, you'll see a little bar that says Mingle. If you click that, you'll get a list of all the other rooms along with a kind of slideshow of all the different participants who are here. So if you'd like to change rooms, that's fine. The stage will still be talking to you, but you'll get a chance to connect with other people as well. Now, there are a lot of ways to participate in today's session. And if you just want to listen, watch, and learn, that's fine. But if you'd like to ask questions or make comments, there are 4 different ways of doing so. So to begin with, on the very, very bottom left of the screen, you'll see 2 orange dots. One that says ask and one that has a little hand and the word raise. If you click the word raise with a hand, that tells us that you would like to come up on stage, which is great. If your mic works and your video camera works, click that, and when the time is right, we'll bring you up on stage so you can talk to our guest. Now, if you prefer just to type in text, there are 2 options. That orange button that says ask, click that, type in your question. That'll come to us, and I'll read that out loud and display it on the screen. So you might want to do that if you prefer to write, or if your camera doesn't work, or if you're just shy. Now, if you want to text to everybody else in your room, just mouse over your icon, and you'll see a few different settings. One of them says I am chat. If you click that, you'll be able to chat to everybody in your room. And you can do so at any time. You'll also be able to chat at individuals if you want to do that privately. And the 4th way, I'm serious, we really want a lot of participation, is to go on Twitter and to tweet either at me, Brian Alexander, or better yet, to use the hashtag FTTE. So I'm going to put that in my chat box right now. But if you tweet that way, we'll see it, and I'm recording them on Storify right now. And in fact, we've already gotten a couple of questions. Greetings to Rodney, greetings to George. So please participate. Now, next slide, please. I'd like to introduce you to today's guest. This is the irrepressible Robbie Melton. She is the Associate Vice Chancellor of Emerging Technology for the Tennessee Board of Regents. She has a whole series of affiliations and background, a whole series of digital projects. She's really an extraordinary thinker, and she is here today to talk to us about the Internet of Things and education.
Welcome.
Robbie, so good to see you. Thank you so much for making the time for us. Um, I gather you are in Tennessee right now, surrounded by a house of the future.
Yes, I'm in my own home, which is a smart home. And you're going to hear some bells and whistle, and I hope not things flying across the screen. But yes, I'm here with the Internet of Things, from a connected stove, shoes, clothes. Oh, wait till you see what I have.
Well, I'm sure we'll get look at a lot of those over the next 50 minutes. So to begin with, let's start talking about the Internet of Things and education. Do you want to give us a good definition of the Internet of Things and how that's different from, say, mobile computing and mobile technology?
Yes. All right, very good. Again, the Internet of Things, by the way, Brian, has changed now to the Internet of Everything. So you're going to see a new term called IOE, Internet of Everything. Before, we were already with our mobile devices and our tablets, and boy, did this hit education hard. Well, now we also know that this connects us to everything. All of a sudden, whether you're talking about a phone, you're talking about a lock, you're even talking about toys, and you'll see various things that I have in the back. What do these all have in common? They're connected. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to present to you some of the what I call amazing technology of connected devices, whereby we can receive data anytime, anywhere, real time. And then the question to all of us, what do we do with that data?
Enormous questions, enormous questions. Um, Let me ask, first of all, where are you seeing the Internet of Things begin to appear in education? Are you seeing people try this out in K-12 or in post-secondary education?
Well, interesting. I'm seeing just a smattering of the Internet of Things in K-12 in terms of your reading analytics. In other words, if you have a textbook and you're able to hold that textbook up to you, and by the way, I do have what? An Internet of Things textbook. This is a textbook whereby it is connected. You hold your mobile device over your textbook, and magically, all of a sudden, you have augmented reality. But for the Internet of Things, Brian, and audience, it's collecting data of when you're reading, how you're reading, and what you're doing with that information. So we see it coming right now in the area of reading. But let's move up to higher ed. We're seeing a major push, almost a daily increase in terms of our connected campuses. We're working with Verizon Wireless in terms of everything on our campus being connected, even our trash cans. So again, you see it starting in terms of the curricula, but on the campuses, you now have everything from your dormitories connected, even your washer and dryers.
So we're down to consumer products,
Yes.
and that's remarkable. Let me ask, all these questions come to mind as we see this. The first is, how are we handling all this data? I mean, on campuses, who gets to host it? Who gets to back it up, make it available?
Ah, Brian, that is the question of the hour. Where's all of this information going? Well, right now, the campuses are not prepared for things coming to us, whether it's from your connected watches, jewelry, and yes, I'm wearing a connected necklace and I'm interacting with the networks. So before, where we only had tablets, phones, and a computer, now we're coming with wearables and other edu gadgets and smart tools all coming together and going where? We're not sure. And that's the question of the hour.
Where would you advise campuses to go? I mean, this is the foundational time. How do you think they should proceed?
Well, number one is called an awareness that everything is connected. In other words, even when you open a door and you touch that doorknob, you don't know if that is a smart doorknob. It will let people know when people are coming, when they're going, and even your fingerprint, who's coming with the identity. Now, I'm here to push education to look at this strategically. In other words, what can we learn from that? And I'm going to give you a teachable moment. Macy's. If you have your phone and you drive past a mall, all of a sudden your phone will shake or ring, and Macy's will then share with you, oh, we have a sale. How do they know all of this information? Because we're all connected. Wouldn't it be just great in education if I could take a book, and if I'm reading that book and I'm stuck on a word, instantly it will let the instructor or the teacher know that Robbie is now stuck on the word chapter, and will provide immediately on time, real time tutorial assistance right there. See, Brian, in the old days, we would give out an assignment, we would collect it, and then we would take it home, and then as a teacher, I would grade your paper. Then I would wait until the next day to say, Brian, you had a problem with this math problem. Wouldn't it change education if, when you were right there, real time, it will alert me, and you can even call me on my phone to say, Brian has a problem with math problem 54, and I could provide to you on time, real time assistance. That would change education.
That would change it a great deal. I've got more questions, but already participants are chiming in. We've got one from Greg who says, there's been a lot of press about poor or lack of security around Internet of Things devices. Especially, what are your thoughts, especially all data collected? Greg, if I've mangled that, please let me know.
Well, Greg is right. And here's a teachable moment, Greg. Here's Hello Barbie. And Hello Barbie is internet connected. In other words, our children are playing with connected devices and toys. Well, if you Google this, you'll find out that Barbie has already been hacked. That means we have our children in the hands of people we don't even know. And when you program Barbie, by the way, you can program her, and we're talking elementary level. It's also collecting that data and storing that data into a site or a server that we're not even sure as parents or educators. So yes, I agree. Number one has to be security and privacy, and that we have to be extremely careful whether it's Hello Barbie. And yes, I even have for you Edwin the Duck. This duck is so connected, and this is for babies. You would never guess. And this lets you know if your baby has a temperature, or you can put Edwin in the tub and it will let you know if the water is right. But again, look at the safety and security. And again, we're not on it, but we have to be on it.
Yeah. Oh, those are two great examples, especially because they involve children. They remind me of the ability to hack baby monitors, but this is much more significant than that. We have a different question. Mike Abiadi, Shindig folks, can you bring Mike up on stage? Kick me out of the way so Mike can talk.
Robbie, with all that you've told us, and it certainly is amazing at many levels, should our institutions actually have an IoT strategy? And if in fact they do, who should be at the table?
Okay, wonderful question. Yes, it's not a should, it's a must in terms of an IoE now strategy. And at the table must be stakeholders from all parties. In other words, this is not an IT concern. This is a community concern, even outside of the campus. Because remember, we're gathering data as you enter the campus and as you leave. Mike, the best teachable moment is Disney. When you go to Disney World, they immediately tag you with a bracelet. And with that bracelet, you're able to open your room door. You're able to go to all of the rides. You're able to order, and it tracks you. And that way, Disney knows when to open up a line, when to close a line, when to bring more food. So let's bring that into the education community. We should have that same level of security, and let's look at tracking and monitoring. How much do we want to be tracked? Some of you aren't aware right now that your insurance companies are now being monitored and tracked with your credit ratings. I found out through default that Allstate, yes, I call names, Allstate will rate you according to your credit rating. How did that happen, everyone? It's the Internet of Things. They're all connected. They can all get your information. So privacy is number one, security. So let's move to a third area, Mike. Another area is, so how do we shape this for education? Who should be at the table? I think anyone involved in living should be at that table. I am able to monitor my mother right now with the Internet of Things because I have a smart blood pressure cuff. She lives in Detroit. I'm here in Nashville. She can take and check her blood pressure using this, or everyone, here's where the Internet of Things takes a quantum leap. I now have a new device that I don't even need this anymore. I just need what? This little device and my phone. And my mom can just touch this in real time. I'm able to watch her blood pressure. We're all connected, whether we're here, there, and everywhere. So again, Mike, to answer your question, because you see I'm real passionate about this. Everything's connected. And I'm going to just take a few minutes to let you know how connected I am.
Right.
Because I'm here at my house and I'm holding this new device from Amazon. And by the way, those who aren't aware of Robbie Melton, I work for the Tennessee Board of Regents. I do not promote products. I do not try to push products. My job as an educator is to evaluate these products for the value of teaching, learning, and workforce development. And I have my team somewhere in this audience who will jump in and also share how they're helping to shape all of this. But back to my house. Well, everyone, here is Tide. And what is this little device? Well, you just plug this on your wash machine back here. And when I need Tide, first of all, this is so creative. It will monitor, if I had a smart wash machine for, $4,000, but I don't. My wash machine will let me know that it needs more soap powder. Well, everyone, I don't have to worry about that because all I have to do is touch this. And it automatically sends a signal to Amazon to say, bring me more Tide. Everyone, you all should be amazed about this. I didn't go through a computer. I didn't go through a phone. I went through this little device. This is the Internet of Things. And in a few minutes, because I think I pushed this by mistake, you're going to hear my doorbell ring. And I live in a zone that I can get from Amazon in 2 hours, my products. So from that, very quickly, everyone, because I know you have many questions, I have devices here, even in terms of cooking. Some of you will remember that I can't cook. I don't need to cook. I got the Internet of Things. First of all, I have smart bowls. Yes, I do. So if it calls for us to put 2 eggs in and I only put in one, it will let me know. And you might say, oh, wow, that's interesting. No, that's not interesting. I have over here, which I'm looking for, and things are going to beep because this is the Internet of Things. Well, let's talk about those eggs, everyone. Excuse me for 1 second. I hear my eggs calling.
What? Eggs are calling?
Well, I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, and those of you, I don't just have an egg carton, because remember, my bowls were able to share with me, I need another egg. Well, guess what? I have a smart egg carton. Yes, I do. It lets me know how many eggs I have and how old those eggs are. That's where we get into the impact of education. Because now, working with these developers, we can then say, this is a good medical device. This is a good consumer device, because now we can look at germs and old eggs and botulism and all of those things. But let's move on very quickly, because again, I can't cook and I don't have all of that time. Well, now that I have my smart egg carton and I have my smart bowl, I need to cook. Well, in my house, I have, and hold your breath and count to 2. 1 and 2. Bam! I have my smart frying pan. Yes, I do. You see it right here. Well, number 1, you will see right here, if I get close, you will see the device that is Bluetooth. And yes, it will let me know when to turn my food over and when to call 911 when my house is on fire. Yes, these are all of your smart tools coming up. So some of you are going to say, well, what does that have to do with education? Well, this is where we come together. I have coming up a smart diaper. Yes, you heard me. A smart diaper. Some of you will remember in the olden days, to determine if it was time to change a baby, you held the baby up and you did the sniff test, or you did the 2 fingers in. Well, not anymore, everyone. Today we have smart diaper coming. You use your phone. It will call your phone to let you know it's time to change the baby. Now, some of you are out there laughing right now, but let's move it to education and workforce. Let's think hospitals. Let's think nursing homes. Let's think of all of those areas where people depend on a caregiver to come and change them. And we don't have that many to go around. Would it not change the way we care for people if that phone would ring and say, in bed number 5, it's time to be changed? So again, let's talk about the other side of the Internet of everything. Well, we talked about security, we talked about privacy, we talked about age appropriateness of all of these devices coming together. But we don't have enough educators, Brian. Everyone in this audience is hooked up to something. If you got a cell phone, I can find you. As soon as you walk into McDonald's, I know what you're going to order. I want to do that in terms of education, to know what can I do as an instructor to help you to acquire what you need to learn. I know I'm talking too much, but wow, Brian, I'm passionate. Life is good.
You're passionate, and you're coming to us from a huge wave of revolutionary change on a truly global scale. And I don't get to ask more questions because more have come in as you've been showing this. One has come from Paul Beldridge in Madison, Wisconsin. He asks about mandatory Internet of Things in higher education. And let me make sure I got this right. He says that Oral Roberts has made it mandatory for incoming freshmen to buy a Fitbit to have their health and fitness tracked. What do you think about that?
Ooh, that's a hard one. And I'm glad they're only using the Fitbit, Brian, because I'm going to turn around very quickly. And again, we're going to count because I have so many of these items here. And I have one coming in. And I'm going to answer that question at the same time, share with you, not only do we have the Fitbit, but we have different things like Gobi. And what is Gobi? These are devices that you put on, and not only will it track how you're working out, how well you're doing, but it also tracks what you're eating. All right, everyone hold on that note. It tracks what you are eating. With Gobi, and here it is, everyone, I cannot make this stuff up. If I eat a candy bar, it will register how many calories I'm eating and send that information. And again, people wear, of course, to the company to say, hey, you don't need to be eating all of those candy bars because according to your Fitbit, you have not worked out. And not only the Fitbit, oh, that's nothing. I have smart shoes. I have smart shoes here. And with smart shoes, if I'm not working out and my Fitbit is letting me know, my shoes will talk to me and say, come get me, put me on, and let's hit the road. So what do I think about this? Used the right way, it could help, especially if you're looking at fitness. But what about, I don't want you to know that. Do I have an option out? Maybe I don't want you to know that I'm hooked on M&Ms. Maybe we're going a little too far. Do we have waivers to say that if you attend this certain campus, I'm able to opt out of that? So again, everyone in the audience, this is brand new. We never had anything like this. I never had a robot. Yes, I have a robot, and you can see one in the back here. I never had a robot who could tell me my business. And as Mike said, Alexa, what time is it?
It's 1:28.
I've never been able to talk and talk to a device and instantly it will address me. So we got a job to do. That's the reason for this presentation. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you're an educator, please know your students are already connected. So other questions?
Well, we have time for a couple more. Hang on, there's one that just came in through Twitter. Let me bring this up. And this may be an answer to your point about the students. Autumn Keynes wants to know, what kind of accessibility concerns surround the Internet of Things in regard to mobile devices and education?
Well, again, no one's minding the store. So we have devices that are coming in that do not comply with our ADA standards. However, on the other side, we do. And we have devices that we're not even aware of, such as iTribe, which will allow you to operate with your eye movement. And we have other devices, and Brian, before we forget, make sure we say to everybody, you got new technology of the HoloLens. Everyone, here it is, right here in living color. This piece of technology of holograms will bring a whole new world for ADA. And again, they're begging educators to help develop it. So Brian, I'm going to have to say something to everyone, and everyone quote me. We're responsible for shaping all this technology. It's here. Before, we couldn't even afford it. Now I can go, and whether it's new shoes, jewelry, rings, or whatever, it's here. McDonald's is going to have virtual reality Happy Meals. So again, we got a job to do, and I'm looking for people to help.
Well, I think you'll find more than a few volunteers from this crowd. On this note, let me just shift ground a little bit. This is the time in the Future Transform when my guest and I get off the stage and we mingle with people in the audience. So for the next 5 minutes, what I'd like you guys to discuss is how are you seeing the Internet of Everything, see, I got it right, unfolding on your campus? And if you don't see it unfolding on your campus, if you don't see a presence for it, where should it go next? Where do you think it should go on your campus? So again, if you haven't been here before to the Shindig, what happens now is that Robbie and I will disappear from the stage. Our icons will reappear down the bottom, and we'll be able to go back and forth and meet people. It's just like being in a seminar hall where we get to mingle with individuals. Now, if you don't want to talk to anybody right now, that's perfectly fine. Mouse over your icon, and there'll be a little lock button. Click that, and that will give you the ability to bounce anybody away from you if you don't want to talk, if you're shy, if you have your mouth full, or if your camera doesn't work. But if you would like to talk to people, please move around and connect with folks. And again, use that little mingle bar on the bottom the bottom left, if you'd like to see other people in other rooms. So again, next 5 minutes, let's mingle and talk about the Internet of Everything in your institution. Shindig folks, bring us down, please.
Those who are trying to sell products to the seniors are using this technology. But in terms of healthcare and helping, no one that I know of at this time. Wow, that was great.
Well, there's some wonderful folks here, Robbie. And I think you have really hit an incredibly deep subject with a lot of different angles. What did folks surface with you in your conversations with them?
Oh, we talked about, again, security, and Vanessa had a very great recommendation in terms of trying to find those who are really concerned about this on the senior citizens level, because most of your Internet of Everything is coming from the business world. And it's not to say that that's negative, but they're marketing. They know what we want, when we want, and if you don't believe me, you go to Amazon, and even if you ordered something maybe a month ago, it will bring up to you, guess what? We have other things in that area, and they monitor and track you. And before we go off, I held up very quickly a pair of smart PJs. These PJs are for the little tots, and they're so smart. You hold your phone over the PJs and it will sing lullabies and read stories to you, as well as give you data going in. So let's hear what others had to say.
That's fantastic. Shelley, would you like to come on stage? Shindig folks, that's Shelley Alcorn.
Come on up.
Hi, Robbie. How are you? This is a fantastic session. I had a great conversation with Brian talking about, he mentioned how our definition of privacy and the conversation that we have around that has really changed, and perhaps we need some new terminology to discuss privacy. The old models that we had of it are really changing. And we also talked about safety, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because we had the shooting yesterday in UC.
Yes.
And when you look at campuses, there is some for using Internet of Things to perhaps watch the emotional temperament of students, or if they change their patterns really suddenly, that might indicate emotional distress or something like that to increase safety. On the other hand, what does that do to intellectual discussion and chilling of discussion and those sorts of things? So this privacy, this physical safety versus intellectual safety, do you have thoughts about how the Internet of Everything is going to affect these sorts of things?
Well, again, the federal government is addressing that topic right now. How much should we monitor? How much should we track? And for Homeland Security, do we track and know, like with this phone, who we calling, where we calling, and where it's going? Or is that an invasion of privacy? Well, Again, now you're asking Robbie. I'm more on the side of life is good, and if it's going to help us to be safe in terms of a country in the world, then yes, we need to track and monitor. How we use that information, I guess, would be the issue. If we use it to come back on me in terms of I know what you're doing, when you're doing, and whatever, then we got a problem. But I'm going to side more on I want to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. These are really, really complex issues, and thank you so much for bringing this great information to us. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's one really powerful question. And I wonder just how, what happens to safety, especially the safety on campus, if we're thinking about either in loco parentis or about the ethos of care, especially as campuses compete more and more for students. From Skidmore, there was a question. I think this is Ben Harwood who asks, how do we define safe enough? Does the goal become 100% safety from everything?
That's interesting. And I'm going to throw that out to the audience also, because again, it depends on your level of fear. If I'm fearful of going to the airport because of bombings, then yes, I'm going to move over to that side of 100%, safety. But if I have not encountered that yet, then I might be, I hate these long lines of security and we need to do something about it. So again, that's going to be a personal issue. But let's hear from the audience and see if someone else can chime in on that.
Absolutely. What do you guys think? What would be, for you, what is your level of fear? And what level of safety do you think we should shoot for, especially in your life or at your institution? Again, if you'd like to come up on stage, just click the raise hand button. Rather type it out for us to read. Click the ask button. And if you'd like to say this on Twitter, use the FTTE hashtag, or jump into your chat box for your room. We've already had one observation in chat about bandwidth and smooth learning purposes. Tom, the Shindig scales pretty well. I think it can handle a lot of different cameras running right now. But on individual machines, that can be an issue. Might not be able to process all the graphical speed. So what do you guys think? What's your level of fear and safety for the Internet of Everything?
And while we're waiting, Brian, I have Alexa here listening to our conversation. And at one point, Alexa, and by the way, Alexa, everyone, is Amazon Echo Lexus, and I'll show you here it is right here. And you ask a question, or if Alexa picks up the different temperature in my house or whatever, it knows what to do. But Alexa is listening because it did turn on. And I had to turn it off because it was going to answer a question that one of you posed. So should I be concerned that in my own home I have Alexa listening?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yes, she is.
And I didn't plan that, everyone. I did not plan that.
Wendy Lampner would like to speak. Shindig, can you bring her back up, put her up on stage, and forgive me for mispronouncing her name? I think her mic was off or muted. Wendy, check to see if you've got, if your mic can work. If your mic is offline, that's okay. Just type in your question and I'll read it out loud. If your mic is good, just click the raise hand again and we'll bring you back up. While she's doing that, Robbie, I've got a different question here from Twitter. It's from Rodney Hargis. And he asks a really interesting question about this comes back to accessibility, but a different angle. He wants to know about, let me read you his tweet. As a cochlear implant recipient, I can't help but wonder the implications of the IOE for those of us with hearing impairments. And I wonder too about other impairments, about, say, visual disabilities or tactile ones. What do you think? How does that play out?
Okay, it plays out this way. When these companies and developers are developing and connecting all of these things together, I wonder if they have someone with the knowledge of the federal guidelines for ADA sitting there to say, we must address these issues. Brian, what I'm finding is almost an afterthought. It's like we will create the Amazon Echo and then go, is it accessible? Why not, while they're developing or being right there at the table, to say, you know what? This isn't an afterthought. This is required. But I'm not finding that, and educators must push these companies to say, if you're coming into the educational environment, it has to be ADA compliant. And I'm going to also put in a pitch for common cartridge, meaning that things need to talk. It has to be common. If you have an Apple, if you have an Android, name it, whatever you have, you see, name it, and Robbie has it. These things need to talk to each other. And that's what we have to push for. So yes, I agree with him, but it starts with the developers.
It really does. And they need better representation. Wendy's mic is up. Wendy, why don't you come on up?
Sorry about that. So what I was saying was that I think the language needs to be written at a 7th grade level, all this language that we're accepting, and that it needs to be a lot simpler and verified, that it's, you know, so that everybody knows what they're agreeing to for these things. So that's my thought on security, is that the language is deliberately difficult to understand, and that we're all clicking I accept all day long and not really knowing what we're accepting. And if it's more clear and we all agree it's more clear and it's written at a lower grade level so we know what people are agreeing to, I think I would feel more comfortable with it.
And Wendy, that is so true, because I don't even read. I just click agree, agree, agree all the way across, not knowing what I'm agreeing to.
Exactly.
And Brian, let me just take a few seconds, just because I know we're running out of time, to just share with you on another emerging level are your smart hospitals. You're going to have smart toilets. So remember the olden days when you were in the hospital and you had to use a bedpan, or you had to go to the hospital restroom? Well, those things are changing. You will have smart toilets and smart bedpan that will analyze whatever you put in right there, real time, going straight to the medical professional, whoever. You're going to have smart beds. You're even going to have smart gowns. And I'm looking around, and you will wear things that will be able to monitor your health. So whether you're wearing a Fitbit, by the way, you can see my earrings here. This is Raspberry Pi, everyone. This is a full motherboard, and you see I can wear it as an earring. You plug in a monitor and a keyboard, and life is good. I have my chips here, and anywhere from my necklace to my rings or whatever. This is the Internet of Things. So we can't fight it, but we sure can shape it.
That's quite a slogan. That's quite a slogan. Do you think the smart hospital sounds like an analog to what you described with Gobi and Fitbit before?
Yes.
So, you know, you could take a look at someone's sweat or their urine or whatever, and then figure out what's in there. I mean, you basically get on the fly, real time lab samples.
Yes, even your contact lenses. You will have smart contact lenses that will, again, monitor your health. I even have a tattoo. You can't see it because I'm far away. That's monitoring what I'm doing. And again, it's a bio metal tattoo. And by the way, you're going to have tech clothes that, did you hear Google and Levi's just partner up? You can wear your blue jeans and rub your sleeves, and wow, we know your heart rate. We know where you're going at all times. So again, everyone, I am so happy that you all joined us. First of all, I want to thank Brian and Chris and Zach because this is new to me. But we got to be willing to try new things. Yes, I know about Blackboard Connect and all of this, but Asheen did. I like this. Not only that, we need to have more conversations like this. And I'm going to say, WCET, Mike, you need to say how we take the risk as an organization to look at these hot topics, knowing that the future is here. And we're willing to step in and get our hands dirty to say, how can we help shape it?
That's quite a call terms. I have, and you should see on Twitter, Robbie, people are just tweeting that like mad back and forth. That's a good slogan. In fact, I should get a smart tattoo of that so I can show people.
Yes.
We have one more question that came up through discussion, and let me just paraphrase it. This is from Ben Harwood at Skidmore in New York. And Ben, are you there? Would you like to ask the question about the commercial wireless bypassing campus Wi-Fi? If you're there, if you're not, I can just ask it for you. Okay, let me just repeat it. He was wondering if the most anticipated Internet of Things, so he phrased it, traffic, will be over commercial wireless, so, cell phones, or will it bypass campus Wi-Fi altogether? This is a very, very technical question, but it's about campus strategies. So to what extent are we going to be using Wi-Fi for the Internet of Everything? And to what extent are we going to be using commercial 3G, 4G, 5G networks?
Well, Brian, I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm going to have Mike to jump in also. We bypass campus Wi-Fi all the time. Anytime there's a outage or whatever, what do? We go straight to our hotspot. Everybody got a hotspot. Everybody got these smartphones. We also have connected cities. We now have, whether it's McDonald's, our parks, everything's Wi-Fi. And even in Spain, when I had to go there last year, the city was Wi-Fi. In California, your buses are Wi-Fi. So we're getting past the campus Wi-Fi. So again, that brings up another level of security. So Mike, you want to jump in and address and make a comment about this, Mike?
I'm not sure if you can hear me right now or not.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, absolutely, Robbie, you're correct. I think one thing we've got to realize that our campus Wi-Fi is going to become less and less and less important. And it's going to become less and less and less under the control of our institutional CIOs. And it's going to become more and more and more of a liability. So what do we do? So everything that you said is so true. And we have to realize that we're entering a new era here. And campus Wi-Fi is going to be a big issue financially. It's going to be a big issue from a security standpoint. It's going to be a big issue from strategy and policy. Are we still there?
Yes, we're still here. I just didn't move.
Oh, no, I hand it back to you, Robbie.
Oh, okay. I was waiting on Brian. And again, before we end, I have to say, on behalf of the Tennessee Board of Regents and the team out there, we are blessed. And I can use the word blessed. I'm old enough. Okay. We have a system that embraces emerging technology. We are able to get items even before market and look at the value for teaching and learning. Right now, again, we have the Microsoft HoloLens, we have the Vive, we have the Oculus Rift, and we are able to embrace not only faculty, but staff, students, and the community. And again, I can say that Tennessee is the only system of higher ed with this type of strategic plan that allows us what do I want to say? We don't have to worry about failure. We can go where no educator has gone before. That's Star Trek.
It sounds to me like Tennessee has a lot of advantages, not just because they have you, Robbie, which is like having an entire campus in one person, but also Tennessee has the, what's the tuition? Is it the plan called Tuition Promise, Tennessee Promise?
Yes, Tennessee Promise. Yes, where students are able to attend the community colleges and our technical school at no cost.
It seems like
However,
we have a lot. Please.
however, Brian, in all fairness, we have addressed the tuition, but now we have to address textbooks cost. Because your textbooks can cost more than your tuition. And we're working with California, with Merlot, and their affordable learning. So again, there's a plug for Merlot in terms of being able to offer our students, how about no cost textbooks?
We had, over the past couple of months, we've had a few guests on the forum who talked about Z degrees and Z classes, for Z for zero, when you have no cost for that. Unfortunately, we have no time. LaDonna Young had a great question. I'm just going to throw out here as an observation, and then we need to wrap things up. LaDonna says there's an urgent need to insert cultural sensitivity into the ADA conversation. How can educators help developers in this respect? I've got to leave that hanging out there because we're at the witching hour. That's a terrific question, LaDonna. Thank you very much. We're going to blog about this, so please feel free to follow up on the blog. Before you go, Robbie, let me just thank you so much for being on the Future Trends Forum. You've introduced us to a world of challenges and possibility. I feel like I'm talking to a time traveler from the year 2030. Thank you so much for coming.
And thank you for having us. And again, follow us with whether it's online consortium, Merlot, WCET, whatever. Come on, you all. We can do this. We can shape it.
That's a great transition because I need to put up a slide right over you. Hold on to this. So if you'd like to follow Robbie, if you'd like to learn more about her and her work, you can see in the very bottom of the slide, there is a link to the Tennessee Board of Regents site and their emerging tech site. So you can click there to learn more and find out more about them. There's also a YouTube video for a great talk presentation that Robbie did with a few other people, so you can learn more. That's for this week. Next week, we're going to continue our theme of emerging technology. Guest is going to be Jonathan Huber from Ball State University. We're talking about what new media and what new technologies can do for education. So please click on his website to learn more about him and RSVP for next Thursday. In the meantime, we're out of time. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you to Shindig for supporting this so effortlessly. Thank you all for your ideas, your questions, your comments, your thoughts. It is a good time to be alive, a lot of challenges and a lot of possibilities. I'll be here for a few minutes if you'd like to talk some more. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. And thank you.